Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back. Apologies for the long delay since the last video. I have been basically sick, and every time I've tried to record, my concentration and mental stamina hasn't been there, and it's just been crap. So that is the reason for me taking until now. Yeah, today we're playing a Jund list. This is stolen from esteemed Hall of Famer Willie Adel, who is a known overgrown tomb enthusiast. So I think we can reasonably assume that the list is at least playable. Reason I wanted to play it was it's got a main deck Clothis, and if I'm not mistaken, a second one in the sideboard, as well as it's leaning on the Croxers by fueling them with Season Pyros. So yeah, we're going to see if that's any good. It's even gone a bit rogue in the mana base too, with a Canyon Slough, which I can only assume is going to be terrible, but Willie Adel's smarter than me and he likes it. 4 trophies as well, and no decays and no Maelstrom Pulse in the main is all quite interesting. So he obviously values the flexibility and the cheap cost. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to play some games and see how we get on. This is a pretty rogue Jund list, so I'm hoping it's going to be good. He did okay with it. He went 6-3 or something in a modern challenge, which, when you factor in him being Willie Adel and me being me, maybe we've got some work to do. Well, how good or bad this is hinges entirely on how good Lightning Bolt is, doesn't it? But I think I'm going to keep it, and I'm planning on cycling the Canyon Slough, not playing it. I think my plan is to lead on the Verdant Catacombs, fetch a Blood Crypt if I have to fetch, and bolt. And, well, I'll be fetching a Blood Crypt either way. I imagine there's a bit more of an emphasis on the Blood Crypt rather than the Overgrown Tomb, now that we play Croxer, but I don't know. I think the important thing is not to fetch Basic Forest if you can help it. See what we're up against. Fetid Heath. Fetid Heath. Some kind of a black-white Gideon tribal deck, maybe? I'm genuinely a bit confused. Suppose we'll learn a bit now. Yeah, it's some kind of black-white tokens, mid-range, probably with loads of planeswalkers, sweepers, that sort of thing. That's my feeling. That's actually probably good for us, the Urborg. Let's see what they fetch. Bat the Skull. The old B Skull. Well, we can remove it. We start by removing this, I suppose. I'm just going to hold up Bolt or Cycling Barrenmoor. Be nice if we can get a few more cards in the graveyard. Between the Bolt and the Barrenmoor, that gets us to 4. And then we just need a fetch or something to enable Croxer. Fetid Heath. They must be trying to cast like Liliana of the Veil and Wrath of God or something. Or Gideon of the Trials. Okay. That's fine. That actually gets us to Croxer, so that's not all bad. Discard this Canyon Slough, which has looked horrible. No, I have to bolt this. It doesn't get me to Croxer, does it? But I have to bolt this because I don't want to have to sacrifice my Croxer. I don't think. Then again, I don't have to play it. I think I'd rather cycle this and see if we can draw a better answer to the Lily. Ren and 6 is just delightful here. That's really good. And there's Clothis. Well, I think we're clearly picking up a land. Sure, we'll play this. Don't really want to discard my basic swamp, but okay. This is going to be a proper game of Magic. There's a lot to consider on all sides. For example, I've got to figure out whether I want to cast this bolt. I don't think I do. That's interesting. I'll get this basic swamp. So I can bolt plus Croaxer. That seems reasonably bad. Or I can get this down, play out my Croaxer. I think I prefer that. It definitely gets rid of that Batterskull or forces them to sack a land so they're far away from the Batterskull, and I think I'm happy with either. We'll see if they cycle a land in response or just lose the Batterskull. Okay, well, Batterskull's a problematic card in long games, so I think that's okay. Yeah, I'm wondering if they may regret the way they've sequenced. They're quite far away from escaping Elspeth, so we can eat it with the Clothis before it becomes a danger. Now all we need to do is manage the Liliana. Even if we do have to throw up a sacrificial Croaxer, I think that's fine. I don't hate them stone raining themselves. I think that can only really be good for me. Comes another stone rain. Yeah. This bolt's not important. Not really. Draw step, what do we get? A trophy, well that's very helpful. Eat that Elspeth. So now I can pick up this Verdant Catacombs. I can do everything. I need to remember to get rid of that Liliana before they untap. One, two, three, four, five. Hang on, what have I got? Oh, the Canyon Slayer. I'm leaving the Baron more because I want to be able to cycle it with picking up with Ren. So this knock whatever's in their hand out, unless it's a removal spell. They've got a removal spell. I think that's fine. Now they just take 3. Cloaks is kind of great because of the absolute worst case scenario is that they take 3. I'm going to upkeep trophy. This might yield a concession. Maybe not. Maybe they're feeling confident. We'll see. I suppose technically they're not under much pressure, but it's only a matter of time before I should have eaten the Lingering Souls, that was terrible. I probably should have eaten the Lingering Souls a while ago. But we have a Ren on 7, so things are they can only be so bad. Let's see if they notice that I need to eat the Lingering Souls and play it before I do. Then I have a decision to make about Fetid Heath. Yeah, they have a decision to make about. It's a good one, that's going to require an answer. Right, well done, Chris. You figured it out. Pick this up, cycle it. Because that Gideon is quite scary. There we go, that's a good one. What did we hit? We do not wish to cast that, I don't think. Do I attack the Gideon, which is basically just guaranteed to trade, and then Ren takes 5. But then they're not making a knight. Sure, I guess. I'm not confident this attack is good. Another reason to make this attack is cards in the yard. I'm also not confident that they should block. The fact they did is, I think, probably preferable. I certainly made it assuming they would block. Yeah, we pretty desperately need to get this Croaker going, and this will be 4-5, so we'll be alright. Although I will have to eat the Baron more then, which is upsetting. However, maybe I should have just emblemed the Ren to get infinite Assassin's trophies. I don't know. That was probably better. That's fine. That's also fine. That's actually probably good for me, because I was never really in need of more mana, and I do need Croaks of Fuel. Don't know if any of this matters. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I'm escaping, I suppose I can cycle Baron more first. Okay. It's actually quite a good draw. It's just more life total pressure. Between that and Clothis, we've got them under quite a lot of life total pressure, which is obviously great. And I guess I've no reason not to play this because sorry, it's all gone really small because we've got so many different land names and non-creature permanents. Okay. They can kill one of my planeswalkers now, but I suspect that the Croaks is going to, not the Croaks, the Clothis plus Raging Ravine should kill them. They can't stop that, can they? That's 4, 5, 6, yeah. Okay. Well, weird game against an interesting deck. Do I want a little bit more graveyard hate, for example? Probably not Ley Lines, but probably Ashiok. Seems alright against Lingering Souls and Elspeth. Maelstrom Pulse also seems alright against Lingering Souls and Planeswalkers. We're alright against Lingering Souls anyway, because we've got Ren and 6 and Season Pyro. It's traditional to trim some amount of discard in these matchups, which I think is fair, especially when half their stuff has escape or flashback. Actually, I think I want a second Clothis more than I want the first Ashiok, and I forgot about the second Clothis. Now, do I want Thrun? Thrun seems very hard for them to deal with, although they do have Liliana. We've got a lot of creatures. I think I want to give Thrun a whirl. It's just such a cool card. Which is not why you shouldn't sideboard based on cool, Chris. Sideboard based on strategy, like an adult. But then again, if you're tuned into this, you're probably not expecting a responsible adult. Drawing the Thoughtseize on turn 1 is perfect. It's the only time you want to play Thoughtseize in these matchups. I'd be interested in what they take. If they've got something to protect, they take the Thoughtseize. If they don't, they take the Clothis. That makes sense. I'm glad we sideboarded in another one. Third Blacklead Cliffs is suboptimal. Oh, they're a Smallpox deck. Well, I've got plenty of lands, so I'm going to take one of these Kaya's Guiles. I don't mind getting Smallpox-did at the moment. Smallpox is it's an interesting magic card. Ooh. Now the Smallpox is... You play this card because it makes the Smallpox unfair. Sure. I don't think this is a massive problem. We'll have to see, of course, but my feeling is that we can manage it. There's green mana, which is great. Start with a Thoughtseize, hopefully take just that. Well, we know their hand. I think we'll take the Smallpox at this point. And it's just a case then of when to blow up the Kaya. Should I let them have one more activation? It just makes my... Does it? Hang on, no, it doesn't make my... Doesn't make my potential Tarmogoyfs any worse, so I guess we'll just we'll just wait on it. Because there's still Thoughtseize over there for sorcery, and we're about to add a land. So my thinking was, if it would have made a future Tarmogoyf bad, then it would have been reasonable to do something about it. Oh, that's really good. God, Lingering Souls is beating in this matchup. Stomping Ground. This may be weird timing. Actually, this is terrible timing. It lets them recast Lingering Souls, but I didn't get punished because they'd already F6'd. But I deserve to be punished for playing badly. Yeah, I think we're pretty far behind because they can either deal 2 to this and have access to Kaya's Guile and flashback Lingering Souls, or they can activate the Shambling Vent and kill it off immediately. And neither of those looks like a great proposition for our side. We really need something like a Bloodbraid Elf to get back in it. Goyf is not terrible, although it is about to be sacrificed, so maybe it is terrible. What a difference between the game where we did have Ren and 6 and the game where we didn't. I'm going to wait, because if they activate Shambling Vent, then I really want to kill it. I think they shouldn't. I think they should be casting the other Lingering Souls and, you know, going for the... Okay, well, here we are. Decision made. Yep. Those are pretty problematic. Also, being flying is more important than it looks. This is a good... Ah, we don't have double green. Well, that's irritating. If they go Liliana the Veil Plus, I'm going to be absolutely furious. Yeah, just trying to close the game out, which is totally correct from their side. It's fairly obvious we don't have much going on. And that's game. Okay. Well, I actually don't think I'm changing how I sideboarded. Actually, I forgot that the Kaya's Guiles are edicts as well, so maybe all of those edicts combined makes the Thrun pretty bad. Do I want an Anger of the Gods for the tokens? Maybe. Maybe another hand attack spell. We'll try that. Clear mulligan. As is that. Come on, deck. Give us a chance. Okay, this is about as good as a 5 could ever be. There's a bit of anti-synergy between these 3 cards, so I'm fairly sure. Oh. Clothis is so good though, it's a clock. I'm not sure about the cards I chose to put back there. Don't really want to get Thought Seized. Getting Thought Seized when you've already mulliganed is very punishing indeed. They have to take Clothis, because Croxer is quite happy in graveyards. It's not a bad one. least they didn't have like a lingering souls to discard or something. I should have thought of that actually. Maybe for that reason Krogser is a bit of a liability. That's not a problem because we can get some value out of the graveyard with that if we get to live long enough. Although we will have to decide between it and Krogser at some stage. Get the Overgrown Tomb tapped. Alright. As far as mulligans to 5 where your hand gets shredded by the opponent go, this is pretty good. It's just like a Kaya's Guile. Sure, I guess that's not really a problem. I mean, we did have some cool stuff in our graveyard, but in the grand scheme of things, this isn't all that punishing. That's quite punishing. If we're completely honest, that's not great. So I can plus. I can use Raging Ravine to defend her. Or I can Raging Ravine at the Gideon and force a chump. Then minus here. But then they've still got a Gideon. They're going to have a Gideon either way. Let's not be... Maybe I should just be going face. I'm trying to figure out what's more valuable out of a card or a token. I'm going to go for the card. Fatal Push, okay. It's pretty good against Raging Ravine. So I've got the mana to activate. The question is, I can activate now and either force them to spend their Night Ally blocking or put them to 6. Or I can activate on my turn to block the here, but then the Gideon still kills Liliana. I think I'm just going to be proactive. Attack the player. I think the way I win this game is just punking them out with like a Blood Braid into a bolt or something like that. I assume maybe this at Lily, token at face maybe, or they just decided to leave the token back. So we're now, yeah, we need to remove the spirit in order to kill the kids. That seems unlikely. Is it worth it? It's almost certainly not worth it. I'm just going for player again. Now, as we know, the Raging Ravine scales quite conveniently and very nicely. Is if they plus the Gideon again, the Raging Ravine will still be big enough to kill it. So I think that kind of forces them into making a knight. So our Raging Ravine is kind of neutralizing their Gideon currently. Come on, bolt. Oh, well, I'm just doing that. There we go. The power of Jund. Their deck, to be fair, is full of high quality cards. They've got loads of good outs to top deck. They could easily have drawn a fatal push based on the way things have gone. Don't be in it. Oh, it's not what we wanted. It's not what we wanted. Come on, give me a bolt. It's better to play it than to not play it. Okay. I think this is not clear whether or not they should triple block. I think I would in their seat, but of course they drew that. Brutal. Brutal. That was timely. That wouldn't have mattered anyway. Okay. Well, we've got a bunch of trophies and stuff. Something like a Season Pyro would be a great draw. Maelstrom Pulse would be a great draw. Bolt. Bolt's not good. It keeps me alive. Keeps me alive. That's one thing I can say for it. I wonder if they're supposed to go for it. Like swing with everything. No, they're playing it safe. Okay, we take 5. They had lethal, they missed lethal. Sure. Yeah. So I'm going to bolt face, because if we draw Croxer, that's lethal. We lost. Good games. I wonder why they must have just not seen it, but they had super lethal. There was a bunch of stuff in that game that I wasn't certain about, like mostly revolving around activating Raging Ravine and then where I was attacking. So yeah, if you disagreed strongly with anything that happened there, then there's There's a good chance once you explain your thinking I would agree with you, because I don't have much conviction behind what I was doing. Those smallpox decks are pretty favoured, I think, in black mid-range mirrors like that, because obviously if everyone's using Lilianas and discard, you want to be the one whose deck is full of Lingering Souls. It's just the best card in that matchup. This hand is nice. This hand is super good. Let's hope they don't make... Oh, that's probably good for me. Can get Blood Crypt. I'll have a good look. That was wrong. I shouldn't have got Blood Crypt. Alright, well. This seems like an advantageous situation to me. The decision to play that before the Ren and 6 was based purely on wanting a clock. Because they look like a Nexus of Fate deck, so their top end is going way over the top of anything we're capable of. The Uro could also be problematic. So we know they have an Archmage's Charm in hand. It's not really a problem, I don't think. Not compared to the frickin' Uro. I assume they won't be able to make the Uro this turn. Is the wreck? It is. Wonder whether I'm supposed to trophy that. Well. It's a bit unfortunate that we don't have... I'm wondering if it was wrong for me to play the Ren and 6 last turn. Maybe I should have played the Pyro. I want to wait and see if they try and draw 2. And if they do, then I'm going to trophy the wreck. Quite a growth spiral, okay. Well, we know now that we are going to be facing an Uro, but I don't think it's that bad. We only need to kill it once, and then we've got Clothis to manage it. We just need to find a window to resolve a removal spell. They are hitting all their land drops, which is, pardon me, it's slightly encouraging because it means their hand is not full of gas. We know it's got an Archmage's Charm though, so the first meaningful thing we do might get countered. It's not bad. I wonder if I have any way I can use my fetch land. I'm going to see if I can trigger it like this. I don't know if this works. What are they targeting? The fatal push. Okay, well, I'll happily make that trade. And then I'm going to, if they attack, I'm going to double block, play my Clothis, and see where we end up. I'm wondering if they were meant to fetch a Sanctuary to get the Archmage's Charm back, because they might want to counter my Clothis. Okay. Bold. I don't think I agree with that. Kind of feels like they've decided they're going to be the aggressor. That explains quite a lot. Because now they just need to put one thing in the graveyard to get the Euro back. Okay, I think that's alright. Unless they have a counter spell, in which case we're kind of dead. Use this as a test spell. So they get to make their Euro, which is clearly terrible for me. I need to find an answer to it. I mean, long term, the Clothis will manage these things really well, but I need a short term answer to it. Honestly, this feels close to unwinnable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we know they've got a Cryptic in hand. So my first attempt to kill the Euro will probably not work. That's gross. I don't know. They presumably take the 3, yeah. It doesn't really matter, they just need material. It doesn't really matter what it is. The point is we're getting horrendously overwhelmed, and even Renin 6, which is like the best card for generating material in our deck is not doing enough. I wonder if they've got another Nexus as well, just to really hammer it home. Trophy's good. But we know they've got all of this stuff plus Cryptic as their hand. Foff, I guess. So they're going to get a Mystic Sanctuary to save the Foff. And all I can really do is exile my Seasoned Pyro and try to trophy the Uro at some stage. Just bounce your Clothis. Bounce that, okay. I can trophy this, but they'll force it. I think I'm just going to scoop. This is unwinnable. Ashiok and Chokes, please. We're going to fight dirty. I'll take another Clothis. Can see wanting incidental graveyard hate. I'll take a Thrun. Goyf's just trade for Quapples in this matchup, which isn't good enough. And Fatal Push probably isn't good enough. I don't think we can go all the way to ley lines. Maybe the Ashiok and the Clothis will get us there. This doesn't seem good enough. This probably is. Guess we're getting rid of Lily. Or Thrun. Probably Thrun. Yeah, if this thing we're playing against is the future of modern fair decks, it doesn't feel very fair. But if this is the future of modern fair decks, then Jund might be totally unplayable. That's my feeling. Opponent's taking a long time over their mulligan, which presumably means it's close. Just realised you guys can't see their clock. Maybe that's slightly preferable. Come on, opponent. But yeah, no, Mystic Sanctuary lock plus Uro plus Snow stuff plus taking infinite turns plus doubling your mana every turn. It is not a very fair deck. Something's obviously gone wrong, so I may just pause the recording and come back to you guys in a minute. Opponent woke up almost immediately. And it looks as though they've kept us 7. So we'll be getting probably Stomping Ground, I think. Makes sense. So, based on what I've seen from this deck, the counter magic suite is usually Archmages, Charms, Cryptics, and Forces. So, I'm wondering whether I'm supposed to just jam the Clothis, because that can't be countered by any of the cards I've just listed. This is where they have a mana leak, isn't it? No, they have a Growth Spiral. Okay. I suspect that Mystic Sanctuary was the last land they had. I don't think you would play that out if you could avoid it. I'm playing this because I care about it less than Ashiok in this matchup, I think. Ashiok essentially shuts down them fetching Mystic Sanctuary. I presume this is a Cryptic command? Let's start here. I'm not sure. I genuinely think there's a strong argument for just playing out the Raging Ravine there. Oh, sorry, just attacking with the Raging Ravine, I should say. But we'll see. Veil is another completely unreasonable magic card. Okay. We can have Foff on its own. The Foff was far more threatening than all the other cards put together. Although getting your Raging Ravine gusted would feel bad. I think top is fine. We'll have 6 lands next turn so we can cast 2 good spells. So I don't really want to get Force of Negation, but they may even have sided them out. I can certainly see an argument for siding them out. Don't love them having a full grip and us having an empty hand. It's a good one. Don't see any reason to do anything at the moment. They'll almost certainly just Cryptic whatever I play. It's another Foff. Okay. That's fine. No surprise there. And that actually shuts off choke altogether. So this game has gone from bad to totally terrible. Cast choke, hope they counter it. Maybe they've realised it's rubbish. Not sure. Okay. Well, we're going to try and cast Clothis. And we'll just Ash up them. And that's it, that's what we've got. So it's probably not good enough, but we'll have to see. Two at Ashiok, one at me. Why would you... I don't know. Maybe they have an answer to the Raging Ravine, but why wouldn't you try and trade your Quattl for my Ravine? Doesn't make sense to me. Maybe they have another Quattl in hand. Eat my trophy. Deal 2. Activate this. Deal 4, maybe? Question mark. Sure. The joke's on them because they have to sacrifice that. They don't even get to keep it. It's rubbish. I mean, they did pick that cryptic back up, but whatever. We'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I make us heavy favourites. Come on, deck. Oh, Christ. This is the most unhappy I've ever been. You know, on Arena, when it gives you the little, "Did you have fun that game?" at the end. I would say no to this one. That was not fun. This this blue-green, all the unfair cards deck is quite it's quite an experience to play against, let's put it that way. I've been going off Modern and Legacy in a huge way since Euro became part of both formats. And it's my sort of card. Like it doesn't win games immediately. It's the combination, I think, of Euro and Mystic Sanctuary that's particularly annoying. And yeah, I don't know what to say. I can't see me feeling too great about either format until something changes. If opponent's name is a reference to the MF Doom and Madlib album Mad Villainy, then opponent is very cool. And I'm also very cool for knowing what that is. Come on, deck. Don't be a cock. So yeah, for those unaware, it's a hip-hop album. MF Doom is cool dude, and Madlib's like top 5 producers of all time. It's a pretty cool album if you were into like what I would classify as authentic hip-hop rather than mumbly nonsense. Well, I don't really want an opponent to have 2 Teferis. That doesn't seem very advantageous for me. I don't really want to get pathed, but if you get pathed early in a game where you've mulled to 5, it doesn't feel so bad. I'd imagine that's about to happen. It's a good draw. Especially if they path me, I can get a basic mountain and then cast it. You should path me this turn, opponent. Oh, stupid patience. Bastard. Let's hope they don't draw a blue source. Oh, it's a blue source. Land. Land is good. Start by going combat. Actually, it was really bad to shock that in. That was 2 damage I didn't need to take. I changed my mind off the back of there's a scenario where we can undo our mulligan with the pyro by, so is this going to be field something, get a plains, I guess we have to take the forest, and then path. There's a scenario where we can draw 2 by playing the pyro with an empty hand, and I think that's like probably our best route to victory. Yep, that's fine. I think opponent has realised how much I want to get pathed. That's a great draw. Potentially. I can't think of anything that can counter it from their side. Okay. So be it. That's really like such a great trade from their point of view. Trade their 2-drop for my 2-drop plus theirs cantrips. Just feels awful. But we are where we are. I assume this is resolving. Opponent's shown unbelievable patience on the path. Yeah, this is bad for me. Tuck Goif? No, just straight on the plus plan. I suppose that makes sense given that they have a path. We really need to draw a land. Like, really need to draw a land. Oh, I could have used Clythis for ramp, that was dumb. Here comes the path. No! Oh man, they have everything. Well, do they? I'm going to try this, hoping they don't have a blue card. This would actually make Goyf a 5-power creature as well. So if they don't have a blue card, this could work out fantastic. They did have a blue card, of course they did. And that's probably game. Well, no, it's certainly game. Okay. Well, choke's still probably good. I think it's safe to assume they've got Euros, although we haven't seen any. I get the impression their deck is a little bit less egregious than the last one. Yeah, the Goyfs still suck. In fact, Thrun still sucks because of trading for a Ice Fang. It's not what you want your 4-drop bomb that you've brought in from the sideboard to do. I have to say this has felt absolutely garbage so far, the deck, so I'm not sure if Willie Adel is onto something or not. Although we've mulliganed a ton, and we've had some like really rough things happen. Renin 6 to the rescue, question mark. Come on, Renin 6. You could do it all for me. You've done it all in the past. If they have a force of negation for my Renin 6, I'm fucked. Oops. Resolve. 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 Oh. Alright, we're in trouble. That's my expert opinion. It feels so bad that they've got more cards than us when we've gotten a 2 for 1. Because we were on the play and we mulliganed. That's a good one. Can I have that, please? Okay. Well, that was the best possible draw, and it resolving was the best possible game action. So, yeah. Game on, I suppose. They probably have things like Aether Gust to deal with it, but maybe they're playing like Celestial Purge. There's loads of ways they can answer it, but for the time being, it's helping. Something like a small Teferi would be a nice thing to see from our side. I don't think I'd be too disappointed if they played that. Duro would also be fine. And by fine I mean like not good, but not terrible. Okay. It's a gust, yeah. I can top that. Getting the Clothis down is good. Not sure if I meant to cast one of the Planeswalkers next turn or just go for Bloodbraid. Suppose we'll see what the opponent's looking like. If they've got a bunch of open mana, it's probably correct to just play the Bloodbraid. Then usually something gets through if you just at them until something sticks. This is probably a Mystic Sanctuary, so it's worth noting that my Clothis activation will fizzle. Or not. Yeah, what are you targeting? Force, okay. I think that's too upsetting. Sure. Well, Bloodbraid is Jace's natural predator. It is to Jace as domestic cats are to small voles and shrews. So that's a joke because voles and shrews shouldn't really have to worry about non-native cats, but they do. Anyway, I love cats. I wouldn't mean to say anything bad about cats. Especially not on the internet, fucking hell. People have died for less. Swamp. Come on. Give me a Goif. Fatal push, no targets, whatever. Should probably have sided out the pushes, given that two of them have made this game a lot worse for us. It's fine. It's all fine. Jace is dead, everything's fine. It was an expensive brainstorm. Good girl. What would be good? Land? Make a mana. See what they've got. Force pitching Uro. Fine. This is, I would say, a fairly obvious cryptic they've left up, so having gotten a 2-for-1, I don't think I'm going to play the Wren. I think I'm going to force them to do something less good with their cryptic or do nothing with their turn. Fine. We've got a half-decent clock. I'm going to field my Ravine. No, they're playing a Tethers. Okay, well, I will be trophying that ridiculous card. The thing is, I don't have any long-term plans involving my opponent's Teferis. That card is not beatable in any way. Annoyingly, they have 3 mana now, so they could do things involving Archmage's charms and similar. But we're alright, we've got like a 5-point clock that's kind of... part of it's hard to disrupt. Can eat the Archmage's charm, I think. Try and get the force next turn. And... go combat. Sure, my push isn't getting any better than this. We're not doing that badly. We might even take a game. Pick this Baron Moor up. And pass. Well. This isn't so bad. I should probably apologise to Fatal Push. I was a bit harsh to Fatal Push a few minutes ago. Turns out me and Fatal Push are best mates. What's this? Okay, yeah, they can escape it. Very cunning. Oh, that'll teach me to think I was winning, won't it? Stupid Astrolabe bastards. And it's even incidentally hating on my Clothis. It's all good. We're drawing 2 a turn. We're fine. We're drawing 2 a turn and we have Sulfuric Vortex. Everything's okay. Probably. Maybe we can draw a removal spell for the Uro before this triggers. You never know. Or not. Just do that. Sure, who cares? Let's cycle this first. Do we want to cast Thoughtseize, or do we want to... maybe we'll start with cycling this. Crux is pretty good. Should have probably cast Thoughtseize before Croxer. In retrospect. Let's see, I assume they've got a spell based on the fact they hesitated there. It's a good one. We may even have known about that. That could be potentially exposing myself as a mediocre magician. Okay. So we've got this stupid frickin' Uro to deal with. But apart from that, oh, they can get an Archmage's charm back. Oh. But they didn't. Fucking weird. Maybe no one would in their right mind would only play 1 Mystic Sanctuary, would they? There we go. and so begins the suffering. Well, we know that their draw step was Archmage's Charm, so my feeling is they're probably meant to hold it as a counter rather than use it as a draw 2, but I assume this isn't Ren. Okay. I think it's worth it to block. I'm going to start with Croaxer. Leaving up a black. I actually think the fetch land is much more valuable than the Thoughtseize. There we go. I assume this gets countered. Now I'm going to kill their Uro while I have a chance. Hopefully we can... I'm going to blow up my Ravine. It's fine. All that's done is fuel my Croaxer and my Rage, which are their two biggest problems. I really just want to win some games at this point. We've had a terrible time of it this league. We deserve a little bit of luck. Ah, they're now fueling their own Uro, I see. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh, they've solved it. The Rotters. The Rotters. Oh, I'm all sad now. I thought I'd killed it. You can't kill me. That's what Uro sounds like. It's not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I have any fetchables left? Don't know. Please? I don't think I do. No. Well, that's embarrassing. Come on, untap, untap. I want not untap. I want to get to trade in combat. That's all I want. Please. Don't have a path. Okay. Hooray! Things. Things are happening. Oh, why did I get happy? That was wrong. Shouldn't have got happy. That was a huge mistake. How dare you get happy, Chris? You moron. Right. Anyway, there's a scenario where we're not looking that bad. Please don't feel to ruin my blood crypt. Eat that. Hooray. Problem 1 solved. Cast this. Please resolve. Nice. Discard this. Nice. Please resolve. Okay. Fair enough. Oh. Yeah, this is the best I could do. God, it's kind of been an epic game, hasn't it? It's a shame we're down 1 game and lost the first 2 matches. That was a massive mistake. They should have hit my blood crypt. How many fields have they used? 4, thank goodness. I don't fancy getting stone rained again. What's that? That's... There we go. Well done, Chris. Normal services resumed. They've got so many effing cards in their hand, it's unreal. I'll tell you what would be a good draw. It would be a non-fetch land red source, like a Blackleaf Cliffs. I think that's fine. Okay, I'm happy with that. Makes it easier for me to attack Teferi. I'm certain I should have played Bloodbraid Elf pre-combat. We'll see. I was in 2 mines and I think I fucked it up pretty bad. Oh. Fine. Oh yeah, that was terrible. If I'd played the Bloodbraid pre-combat, we would have had lethal. Just straight up lethal. Forget killing the Teferi. Ooh. Come on, opponent. Don't dig out of this now. You're in loads of trouble. What? They got a fucking Wrath of God. Feels like a bloody wrath. Oh, I'm too tired for Supreme Verdict. Okay, they haven't. That's weird. Seems like a very rogue attack. Oh, they must be on a tap draw type of plan. I would like to go to combat. You can't. Not allowed. Okay. Just leave the Baron Moor for my old mate Ren. So their hand is Mystic Sanctuary and what? Anything? If they don't have something, they're dead any number of ways, like Ren dealing 1 and Clothis dealing 2, or Croaks are dealing 3 if we get to attack, or whatever. See what they target. The Cryptic, that's I guess the only sensible choice. And now we learn our fate. Do they have something like a Coatl to redraw? Now the Cryptic is on top. They do have something like a Coatl. But instead of being a snake... Snake what? Bird? Just a snake. Okay. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? Just a snake. You're a snake. Right, so they have a Cryptic. It's a good draw. When it has to resolve, because they have to use their Cryptic. I suppose they could do counter tap. Maybe I should have waited. I think I've blown this. But if they're doing counter tap, they're not bouncing, so breaks the cycle. Yeah, fair. Well, let's get this Baron Moor. Cycle it. Maybe we'll hit a bolt, you never know. We hit a dead card. Go. So we got them to break their cycle. They have to draw well. Yay! I'm not sure that was very good. I think I might have played that last couple turns a bit loose, but quite like the idea of Maelstrom pulsing 4 Arkham's Astrolabes once in my life. I think that's pretty hilarious, but this hand is good enough. Come on, Choke. You can do it. Let's hope they tap out for an Uro on their turn 3. Or something stupid like a Little Teferi. Well, we've got some good hate pieces. Go on, shock yourself. Hold up that Aether Gust. Ha! Although 8th Augustus could answer to choke. Alright. Best possible scenario is tap out for Uro whilst also putting into play a tapped island. Like, I suppose a Sanctuary would be tapped at the moment, or a breeding pool with no intention of... Oh, come on, opponent. Come on, play into my trap. I wonder how on people's radars choke is, because it's definitely been more popular in Jund sideboards recently than it was 2 years ago or whatever. But it's these bastards' fault for being all islandy all the time. Well, let's see if they have a force. Because if they don't, we're in really good shape. They've got a force. That or they're furious. Come on, double stone rain! Yeah! Okay. That doesn't win games on its own, but it's pretty great. Not quite what I had in mind for the Assassin's Trophies. Maybe I should have hit the Astrolabe, but then, I don't know. This just feels more punishing. It's quite good fun. I do like being a cock. Come on. What should they get? Just a forest? This is an interesting question for them. They got an island that won't untap. Okay. Ooh. How cheeky. I think I'm fine with trading. Because they just stone rain themselves again. This is amazing. Right, how do I don't have any K commands to kill that Astrolabe. But there we are. Ah, that explains a lot. I've had my fun. I actually need to try and win. It seems highly likely I'm getting Uro'd this turn, so I want to probably use my next turn on Liliana. There we go. Well, they don't have access to veto, so the only thing they could have, I suppose they could put another land in, and then they've got access to force, but like casting force. I was going to say alternate alternate casting costing force. That's hard to say. Is the only thing I can think of at the moment. Okay, that's fine. It makes me go get my forest, which is rubbish against, sorry, rubbish with Croaker, but beyond that I think this is fine. Rubbish draw. Resolve. Ah. 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 That's like, that's all you can really do and say is just like, ah. Of course they have that ridiculous 1-mana card that wins the counter war or whatever. Oh, WOTC. I feel like WOTC's really got quite a lot of questions still to answer about the last year or two. Oh man, we don't have enough green to do 2 things. They've definitely got a counter. Okay. We've reached the stage of the game where it feels like we're totally toothless and everything's stopped being fun. Don't really know what I'm supposed to do from here. That's just going to get bounced, of course, by the Teferi. We're taking 7. I don't know. Other than there's obviously a category of Magic player which does contain a lot of people that are purely interested in winning and want to play the best deck. But if you're not in that category of player, this just seems totally charmless. Which is ironic considering it's full of Archmage's charms. So they redraw the Archmage's charm that we know about. Best card in our deck is probably not going to do a ton. Oh, sure, we don't get to cast anything because it's Tethers. Okay. Well, we are dead on board, but might as well make them do it. Yeah, there we go. They could have also just bounced it, but yeah. Well, I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think Jund seems very good against this Bant deck, which is the de facto best deck at the moment. In fact, it kind of feels like we're just being, you know, target practice for them. So maybe Jund sucks. I don't know if there's other versions of Jund that are better at the moment, but I actually think it might make sense to leave the video here, because typically if I was playing at 0-3 I would drop anyway. The video is already quite long because we had a couple really long rounds. And lastly, I don't really want to play 2 more rounds with a deck I don't think I'm going to play for a long time. So, yeah, let's go back and view it and we can talk about what happened and stuff instead and then kind of call it quits, I think. What is there to say? So, Clothis and Croaxer were both kind of decent, actually. Season Pyro didn't really get a chance to shine, but I personally don't love it in the deck. I think I'd rather just have more of the 2-drop creatures, the Scavenging Oozes, and I can see the argument for playing less Oozes when you're playing Clothis, but if Uro is rampant, then I think Oozes worth including. 4 trophies, I'm not sure. Trophy wasn't that impressive today. It was nice to be able to answer things like Teferi, but it was also, like, it's such a cost giving away a land, and you don't really want to cast it early. We didn't play any real graveyard decks. We didn't play against like Dredge or Storm. We played against a bunch of semi-graveyardy decks where I decided that Leyline wasn't good enough, and I probably would have brought in something like Nile Spellbomb. So maybe that's a consideration. And then Thrun was just, you know, other than being a really cool card, it's clearly not relevant in 2020. So that's kind of my thoughts. I'm not sure if Choke was better than something like Pillage would have been. I know a lot of people are on Pillage in this deck at the moment, and I can totally see why. Maybe I'll have another go at reconfiguring Jund at some point, but not for a while. It feels like it's fairly bad. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know what you want to see next time. And yeah, take care. Thanks. Goodbye.